for the last time. It started in 2018. It ends today, but it moves in a different direction. Ladies and gentlemen,
I wasn't going to cry.
Welcome to episode 74 of the Balls Deep Red Sox Baseball Podcast. This is our final podcast. We actually already changed the label, the logos and everything else. But this is our last podcast as Balls Deep, kind of officially. We wanted to send it off. And we will be transitioning into Loaded on Landsdowne from here on out. And I'm your host, Mark Chikaris. Alongside me always, virtually, is Andrew Andrews. He's a super producer. And our other guest host, hopefully with some sort of permanence moving forward, we have Drew Athens, writer for Bo Sox Projection on the Excited Network. Drew, how are you?
Great. How you guys doing?
Andy, how you doing?
We're doing well.
Good.
Yeah.
Shout out to you guys. So again, we'll have the new logos out. We're the same on Instagram. If you've been following us on Instagram, I just changed the name. Same thing. iTunes and Spotify, everything's changed, but it's still, we're not going to go to episode 1 next time. We're just going to continue with the numbers. And on Twitter right now, we're still at Balls Deep Pod. So we're going to see about changing that.
Yep.
But generally, we're still on all the same platforms. And of course, YouTube channel, Mark Chikaris, Chekares, and that's Mark with a K. Before we start, just want to give, like we did last week, a little ask for help from our listeners, anyone out there, for the Corky Row Club in Fall River, Massachusetts. There's a GoFundMe. You can look that up. They are a nonprofit club, bar, function, facility, restaurant. Of course, they're not serving anyone, but you should really think about giving to them because they do free meals to veterans once a week. And obviously they can't do that right now. They're trying to raise $7,000. And I think the last time I checked, I think they were over 2,000. So
there you go. Good start.
Awesome.
What's the Corky Row?
All right. So is a part of Fall River. An Irish immigrant came in. He built 4, with those multifamily houses at one section. And that's basically what became the Irish section of Fall River, and they called it Corky Row for
4 buildings, the Irish section. That's all the Corky. That's all the Corkies would give
all you get.
4 buildings.
That's the huge Irish section of Fall River, but it was named after Cork, Ireland. So shout out to them and my buddy Kevin Grant, who is the president of Corky Row, and a great musician, hardcore musician. So
nice.
Give him a listen too on Spotify. He's awesome. All right, so gentlemen, we're gonna start out. By the way, speaking of Fall River, pick this little guy up today. This is Home Slice IPA from Canned Heat Brewing on the Fall River waterfront. As far as I'm concerned, they do the best beer. They do the best beer in southeastern Massachusetts, and I've been to basically all.
Really?
I've never heard of that.
Yeah. No free ads, right? Isn't that what Portnoy would say?
Exactly.
All right. So, guys, let's get into it. Baseball, live baseball returned this week to ESPN. The first game, I think, what was it, Tuesday? Was at 1 o'clock in the morning or something. I taped it.
Mm-hmm.
I watched it while I was doing some work at home. Korean baseball organization. It was the Samsung Lions versus the NC Dinos. Love the name. Love the name Dinos.
Go Dinos.
I was cracking up because, of course, I taped it. I watched it at night when the kids were in bed and everything else. And I turn it on, and of course, Andy, what is it? It's a rain delay. So, and Andy and I hate rain delays because we feel that we have the technology to build stadiums with retractable roofs.
Exactly.
Why are we doing this? But it was just so fitting. It's like baseball's back, baby.
Just play in the rain.
This might be monsoon season over there too. I'm not sure. It might be the beginning of that.
This was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Tsunami.
Tsunami.
Yeah, come on. Be respectful.
Yeah, no.
How does the Korean baseball league like stack up against like say the Japanese baseball league? Right? You know, is there a hierarchy of like Asian like if you
Japan's better than Korea, I believe.
Yes.
are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Japan's probably like quadruple A, and Korea's probably more like a double/triple A quality.
Talk about Taiwan missing the boat, because originally they were the team like, oh, there's baseball in Taiwan, and they just couldn't figure that shit out to get it on TV over here.
No. So there was a rain delay, and Drew Rasinski, who was he was a major league player. He started for the Dinos. He came out looking pretty good. I mean, he's throwing 93, 94 miles an hour, which had guys, he was just blowing it by him. The only problem was he had no control, and that's why he's playing in the Korean baseball organization, because he couldn't find the plate. I guess in Wednesday's game, if you guys remember the name Casey Kelly, former Sox prospect, he pitched in that game, and he was traded for Adrian Gonzalez in the deal with the Padres. And that's why I don't mind trading prospects, because Casey Kelly was supposed to be, the next Roger Clemens or something. And, I think he pitched for 4 years. He pitched for the Padres, the Giants, and then he was out of,
it's
the
so
Braves,
much
I think, too,
it's so much more of a crapshoot than you're not trading an NFL first round pick. You're not trading an NBA. You know what I mean?
Right.
You could be the number 8th pick in the entire MLB draft, and it's still, you know what I mean? You're still a whiles away.
Well, I read today, actually, I read about him. He was, I think the Sox picked him in the first round in 2008 or somewhere around there. And I believe he has the distinction right now as being the highest formally rated prospect in MLB that's playing over in Korea, ever.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So
that's not what you want to be.
That's a dubious distinction, yes.
That's not what you want to be known for. It really is.
Yeah, not at all.
So a couple of things that I loved about this. Of course, I was really paying attention to pace of play stuff and just the little nuances, little differences. There was only 3 commercials in between innings. That was number one, and they just seemed to go like that. So if Major League Baseball can figure it out and just implement a split screen or an in-game sidebar where they're showing advertisements, God, that would speed things up so much.
You didn't get to see any of the local commercials, did you?
No. It was American commercials.
The Jerry Seinfeld Happy Fun Time or something like that.
What was it? Well, this is Japan, but Homer Simpson, Mr. Sparkle.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. That was great. Barco's whatever fish bulb.
Yeah.
All right. So another thing I like, tie game after 12 innings. It's a tie.
Yep.
It's a tie, and that's it. You play 12 innings, and you save arms, and you don't risk injury. Again, if you want to have some sort of weirdo home run derby, you want to put a guy on second.
How does that affect the standings? Is it do they do a point thing, 2 points for a win, 1 point for a tie? Or,
that I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, honestly.
Yeah.
Have to check on that one.
Yeah.
How often does it really happen?
No runs scored, and then again, right? Nassau Bum is his name. He homered in the top of the 4th, and of course there was a replay. By the way, I don't know if you guys saw that. He destroyed that ball. It went it went over the foul pole, one of those.
Yep.
Was such a blast. He crushed it. And the replay took forever, and I'm like, just like American.
Just like home, yeah.
Whenever those kind of plays, though, they replay them. What are you actually gonna see if it's higher than the foul? What do you think you're gonna see?
It's a judgment call.
And I think the home plate umpire is going to see that the best as it happens anyway.
Yep.
The angles they have, unless it's right on the line, the angle's gonna be skewed anyway, right?
Yep.
So a couple other things. Well, Drew, you've been to Korea. You've seen the KBO.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us about your experience going to the games and fill us in on some of your takes?
Sure. So I went over this past September to Changwon, which is a city on the southern coast of Korea, and I was there for work. And the guys that I was over there working with, they had been over here back the year before, and so we got to talking about sports, and they mentioned they've got this baseball league, and they said one of the guys that I talked to, he'd been to a bunch of MLB parks, and he said He said, the games in Korea are just wacky. I mean, they're just totally different than here. So I kind of filed that in my memory, and then when I went over there, I asked. I said, "Hey, any chance we can go to a game?" I looked at the schedule online. The home team in that city is NC Dinos.
Yep. Nice.
So I said, I know they're playing a couple nights this week. So he said, "Yep, he got tickets." We went after work. I mean, I don't know. I can just kind of really quickly go through what it was like.
Go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, so first weird thing compared to here is you can take food and you can take anything you want into the park. So food, alcohol, drinks, anything. I mean, we took in a bunch of food. We stopped on the way and picked up
bottle of Fireball whiskey.
Yeah.
Oh God! See, there you go. Step one. Massachusetts can't handle that.
Exactly. And then they got us, the guys from work, they got us seats like kind of right behind home plate, maybe a few rows back. So in the ballpark, that whole section, you're actually sitting at a table. It's like these long tables.
Oh, that's great. What kind of money about? Like, are we talking for a ticket? Do you know?
Gosh, I don't know. I still have my ticket stub. I'd have to do the conversion. I don't think it was too bad. Maybe like $20, $30. I mean, it wasn't.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. Was it 100 or was it? Wow.
Yeah, no, it wasn't that bad. The game was good. It actually ended in a tie after 12 innings. There was an American on each team. And so what was funny is the guys I was with pointed out that, all the Koreans, they have their names in Korean on the back of the jersey. But in the Americans, they try to do it like phonetically, but in Korean characters. Yeah. But it never ends up coming out right.
No. I mean, I couldn't see what's his name. Brzezinski. It was in Korean. I don't know if they stopped that, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
And Korean for
the biggest difference is that there's cheerleaders. Well, first of all, the fans kind of self-segregate. So like all the Dinos fans sit over here, and then they were playing Doosan Bears. They all sat on the other side. And then the home team has cheerleaders that lead these cheers, and they have like a cheer and a song for every player. So like it's instead of walk-up music.
Yeah,
they go up to the plate, and the crowd's they're doing these hand motions and these dances, and it's just wild. I mean, it was a lot of fun.
Big crowd.
It was a pretty big crowd. So I think that ballpark maybe holds, I don't know, like 22,000 ish. So, and it was pretty full. And then the other cool thing is that, well, first of all, their favorite snack at the ball games are like fried chicken, like chicken wings that you dip in like Korean barbecue sauce and beer. And what they do is they have guys with these like keg things on their back with the hose, and they just come around and they'll fill up like a 1.5 liter bottle. It's like ice cold. It's so good.
Why are we
the greatest thing ever?
Why are we all not in Korea right now?
It was dirt cheap. I did the conversion for the beer. It was like a 1.5 liter bottle, like right off the tap, was like $4.
If they had a guy walking around doing that at Fenway, they would have to cancel the game in the 5th inning. You know what I mean? There would be fights. There would be rushing the stand. It would be.
But it was awesome. So that's kind of the one thing I wish, now that we can see these games on TV, it's too bad there's no fans there because it's so different from MLB.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched a couple of Japanese baseball games, and the fans are mental, man. They're going crazy, and they have those things that they twirl around. But yeah, thanks for that insight, Andy. Did you watch the games? What do you got?
Yeah, I'm not gonna wake up for those games.
I haven't either. I need to sleep.
Yeah, no, I watched the highlights. I think it's fun. It's it's better than anything, right? I know the bat flip is part of their community, right? It's kind of the thing, which is kind of neat. I mean, it's like, does anyone get plugged for doing bat flips, or is just completely okay and everyone's fine with it?
They almost kind of try to outdo each other.
Yeah.
So I don't know, just as a quick aside, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but there's this great video on YouTube. There's this guy, I forget what team he was on, at KBO, and he hits this ball and he does this bat flip and his arms are up and he is so sure.
Oh, the fuck.
I think I sent it to you guys, and then the thing was foul by about a mile.
Not even close. Do you think when it becomes something that's serious, do you think they actually like practice the bat flips? Like I would love to see.
I bet they do.
I would love to see some secret video of some guy just kind of like trying different bat flips, and one time the bat kind of hits him, or one time it bounces and hits him in the nuts or something. I would really like to see something like that.
Yeah, like that one where they, people like throw it down and then they pick it up, but it hits them in the nuts.
Yeah, and it bounces up.
Yeah,
exactly. That'd be good.
That's always
get you right in the nose or something.
I like the uniforms in Korea. I think they're pretty sweet. The Dinos uniforms were awesome. And then I watched what did I watch the next day? the Twins, and they might have been playing. I forgot who they were playing. Maybe the Bears. It was the Twins and the Bears or something.
Okay.
But their uniforms are pretty sweet. I mean, they got the advertisements all over it. But I mean,
Yeah.
we're there now. We haven't seen it yet with Nike, but they're on our uniforms now. So I just hope they don't go full Korea and just have them like all over the place.
Hey,
yeah.
If it meant one less commercial every break.
Oh yeah, I'm all for
I would put.
I would
make the
as much as
entire
I
thing
hate
a
them,
fucking
I'd probably
billboard.
go
You know
for
what I'm
it.
saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think about it. Like, if this had been going on, if the season started, we'd already be used to the Nike thing anyway. We by this time, maybe the first week or two, we'd be like, but I don't know. I know people hate
signs on the green monster, right? People were. That was sacrilegious. I can't believe, even though they did do it for years and years.
That was what was originally on it. Wasn't green.
Yeah.
It was the
Back until I think like the late 40s, it was all ads.
Yep.
Yeah.
They still put ads up there occasionally. They paint it white on the monster. All right. So speaking of uniforms, the Red Sox announced, there was a news thing this week that the Red Sox would be amicable to changing up their uniforms. So I saw the headline for this and I was like, oh, here we go. And I think, Drew, you put something on Twitter like money grab city, right? Because they're not playing, and the Red Sox love to,
they love money.
Yeah, they love money. They love to change up their uniforms. And the only thing I could think of is, Drew, I know you and I don't like them, and Andy, I think you're in the same boat. I hate the tomato cans, and I hate the blue uniforms. So I hate their alternative uniforms. I wish they'd be white and gray.
They're spring training uniforms. Exactly. You know what I mean? It's any kind of like it's their practice uniforms.
Yep.
So that's why it annoys me. All I can think of is what it's going to be full cotton so it can breathe. Is that what they're going for there? Another side.
Well, to your point, Andy, and this is the funny part, is that Sam Kennedy, the team's president, came out. He's the president, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think like CEO and president or whatever.
Yeah. So he comes out and says, well, what we mean by that is they're looking for like better like performance uniforms, so different materials and stuff like that. And that's the first thing I thought of was freaking Costanza and Sam Kennedy sitting there holding up these new whatever material it is. It starts raining and the players are just like
better performance. So better. So the kind of material that when you give a 33-year-old $30 million a year, it makes him pitch better and not be on the DL. Is that material they're going for? I don't.
Getting back to Korea for a second, I did notice, Drew and Andy, I don't know if you noticed this, but I did notice that they had holes in their armpit uniforms. I don't know if they cut those themselves, or I didn't see if it was everyone. I was just kind of looking, but
not just like the couple like little circle holes, like actually bigger holes.
No, like it's almost
like they cut us.
Yeah, it's almost like it looked like, I don't know if it was on purpose or if they cut it, but like to let their armpits breathe or something like that, which I don't know if that's what Kennedy, I mean, not that specifically, but is Kennedy talking about like a cooler uniform being like, temperature wise? Like, what are you talking about performance wise? It has to do with the temperature, right? Who cares what kind of uniform? Unless it's sale.
That's kind of what gives me a little bit of worry, is because if they're just talking about changing fabrics, why mention it? No one cares.
Right. They've changed it to different, it's changed many times during the year, the fabric.
Exactly. I mean, they were wearing wool, whatever, 50, 60 years ago, and then they wore the polyester, and now everything's, synthetic and breathable and high-performance fabric, so why mention it?
Baseball is, the second you start fucking around with a uniform a little bit, it becomes a softball uniform, a men's beer league softball uniform so quickly. You know what I mean? You're the Colorado Rockies all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Or the Reds have a classic white, really nice. Then they started fucking around with the sleeveless things and
then the red jerseys. Yep, the all red.
Yeah, because the Reds are, one of the most classic teams. Not really anymore, but the Reds were always a great.
It shouldn't be a piece of shit city, but
yeah. So let me ask you guys a question. If the Red Sox were to change their uniforms, like, what would you accept? All right. So in other words, I wouldn't accept any changes to their home uniform. Like I
Agreed.
Their home uniforms to me are perfect.
Yep.
Perfect. Their away uniforms, I'm a huge fan of the 1936 throwback uniforms that have the Boston block letters across the front and have it, they're in, so it's, the grays, all right? But the block letters are in blue with a red trim. And David Price, David Price wore it to pitch a couple of years ago. And man, I saw those uniforms and I was like, wow, those things would look bomb if they like updated it a little bit, modernized it just a little bit, or even gave it that Bo Sox font with the, but blue with the red outline. I know they did the solid blue back in like 2013.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
I'm like the only person who loved those uniforms. But I thought those uniforms were sweet. And the other thing I would accept is the blue brim, red hat, blue B from the 70s with that uniform. Just two kind of mixed up throwbacks. Would you guys want anything modern? Remember those move ahead uniforms? I mean, what would you guys like to see? Let's say, gun to your head, the Red Sox have to change their uniforms. What would you like to see? Andy, what do you got?
I'd be okay with fucking around with the aways. I agree 100%. The home uniforms are the home uniforms. Those should not change. There's a few things that are just classic, I would get rid of the names. I don't think you need names in baseball. I think it clutters up the uniform. I think across the league, I think they should get rid of the names. I would even be okay if they wanted to simplify it back to that kind of late 80s where it was just it was the really blue, almost looked black. You know what I mean? I didn't hate that, and I love the red hats.
Yeah,
love the red hats. I'd be on board for those. I would even be on board for if they did a whole season in the red hats, both uniforms, just like they used to. Because I think the red hats are cool.
Do you guys remember? I think it was in the late 90s. Hold on one second. I'm getting a meeting ends in 10 minutes thing. I thought we had unlimited, but I guess not. So we're gonna have to go quick here. Drew, what would you accept?
I agree with both of you guys. The home uniform, leave them alone. The only thing I would change from now is I'd get rid of that stupid Nike logo from the front. I think if you're going to have a logo, put it on the sleeve like they used to have it. Home uniforms, Andy, I'm with you. My favorite, road uniforms. My favorites are the ones from the 80s with the gray with that blue block lettered Boston, blue letters, blue numbers on the back, no name on the back. Agreed. You don't need the names on the back. But I'm pretty traditional. I mean, I like the Navy hats. I would keep those. I would like to see more of the the blue undershirt under the jerseys instead of the red that they're always wearing. I mean, I think the red looks nice, but that navy, especially with the home uniform, just really pops. It really looks nice.
I don't mind the red with the aways.
Yes.
I want the blues with the
home. Yep. And then the last thing is I would mandate, because I love high socks or stirrups.
Oh God!
I'd mandate you got to wear those. I don't like the long baggy pants.
I don't like the pajama look. I don't like.
Yeah, exactly.
I know, but these days the high stirrup, it just seems like you're such a fucking tryhard. You know what I mean?
And I agree with the stirrups. So I mean, I've always been more a fan of just the solid colored high socks, kind of like what Mookie and Xander and those guys are wearing anyway.
I like the solid socks. The stirrups looks just
The stirrups looked okay in the '60s, when they were still pretty low. But by the time we were all playing Little League and it was just that thin strip of fabric, I was never a fan of that.
Or the long socks with the built-in stirrups, right?
Yeah.
There was always that space right here, though, where it just looked awful.
That's even worse.
All right, moving on. So yesterday I had an opportunity to do a season ticket holder Zoom with Andrew Benintendi, JBJ, and JD Martinez, and the first base coach, what was his name? Tom Goodwin, I believe. Who, by the way, fantastic guy. He was super funny on the Zoom. So let me walk you through some of the highlights. So, we get on and the players kind of get on, and JD Martinez is just on the couch, lounging in his outdoor couch, just looking like a snack, as the kids would say, right? Just all swarthy, right? So that happens, okay? And, you know, the fans were able to ask questions and, you know, submit their questions, whatever. You know,
I'm sure they were great questions too, right?
Yeah, they were some of the questions. Okay, one of the questions was, what's your favorite ice cream? And just in case anyone's wondering, Jackie Bradley's is strawberry cheesecake. I know that
Let me write this down.
Yep.
Of course, strawberry.
I actually wrote it all down. All right.
What's it like when you hit a baseball? Cool.
So, you know, they're like, what are you guys doing? What's the silver lining of this? JD's like, well, you get to go out on my boat. And, you know, Benintendi's like, I get to hang out with my family. Same thing with JBJ.
JBJ's like, I can't get cut.
Yeah.
I don't have to go to the plate. So it's actually not bad.
They asked him if they took up any new hobbies, and JD Martinez showed a cringeworthy video of Benintendi and his sister doing a TikTok dance because Benintendi's on TikTok now. So that was brutal. A couple other things. Goodwin was making fun of JD Martinez in the outfield. He called him a DH. JD was like, I'm an outfielder. And Goodwin was like, yeah, we're gonna call you Silk out there in the outfield, which I thought was pretty funny.
Well, JD should have said, well, if I'm only a DH, then Jackie Bradley's only an outfielder.
Exactly.
They had, one of the questions was interesting. They asked Jackie about how he was able to you know, track down fly balls so well, and he said honestly it's just innate in him. You know, he always had, and you know, as you get better in the game, you you learn more and you get better at it. But he says it was literally just like a natural talent.
Anyone ask him about cheating? Did that come up?
No, surprisingly.
No, surprisingly, right?
That was filtered out. But we have about 5 minutes left, guys. I guess before this.
Splice another one together. Don't worry.
Before this Zoom is going to be gone. But here's the funniest part about what happened. All right, so you know, there's a bunch of other things. So you know, they talked about who has the weirdest rituals, and I guess, you know, when Xander Bogaerts gets up and he does the taps and everything else, but it looks like he's got a dip in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't dip. Those are energy gummies. He puts like 5 of them in there before he like gets up to bat, which is like totally crazy.
Huh.
But
weren't those called like methamphetamine in the 70s? It's the same kind of, you know.
Yeah. Oh, by the way,
used to use those too.
By the way, here's one more funny one before we get to the real good story. JD Martinez, they said, what's the last show you binge watched? JD Martinez says Tiger King, and he says, and Carol Baskin did Kill Her Husband.
Oh, nice.
So that was pretty funny. But here's the great
Bitch, Carol Baskin.
Yeah. Here's the great story. Hi, all you cool cats and kittens. Here's the great story, okay? So JD, you know, this was early in the Zoom. So they're going through the thing, whatever. They're asking the questions. So JD Martinez's phone rings. It's Eduardo Rodriguez. Okay, so he's like, oh, Eddie's calling. He shows the phone, right? Eduardo Rodriguez's name is up there. So he picks up the phone. He's like, Eddie, what's going on, man? Hey, we're all hanging out. I'm on a Zoom with Benny and JBJ and Goody, whatever. Eduardo Rodriguez doesn't know there's also 600 season ticket holders, right? So he starts, you guys are a bunch of douchebags. Why you all hanging out? You don't call me, you douchebags, a bunch of douches, right? So I'm just like, oh my God. My son's right there, right? Like my 2 sons, right, are right there. And I'm like, it's just going to be a matter of time before he drops the F-bomb.
Yeah.
So sure enough, he's like, you guys are effing asshole, all this stuff, right? And I'm just like, and Jabari, what is his name? The guy from Nesson.
Jemai Weber, I think.
Jemai Weber, yeah. He was just like, ha ha, right? Like nervous laughter, right? Yeah. But then, so that happened. So that was wicked funny. But then, of course, like 2 questions later, right? They're like, okay, we have another question from like Sister Teresa, like Letourneau or something. I was like, of course. Of course, there's none on there who asked the question, and she has to sit through Rodriguez calling everyone douchebags and dropping F-bombs
and assholes.
Oh, it was so
Oh man,
could have used.
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
But and the fact that that happened like shortly after was absolutely perfect because I'm like, oh my god, like who's on? There's kids on here, da da da, and of course,
A nun.
Sister Teresa's literally it was literally her name, Sister Teresa's name came up.
So the ball players have pretty good personalities.
Yeah, pretty much. Benny's a dud, man. He's a
A
dud.
lot of ball players are duds. I
Yeah.
kind of, you know,
But-
it's not, you know.
Yeah, but JD, guys, we got less than a minute here, so
right.
we're gonna wrap up episode 74. Great to see you guys.
Me too.
And we are now loaded on Landsdowne Red Sox
There you
baseball podcast. We're on iTunes. We're on Spotify. We are now on YouTube under my channel, Mark Chikaris. I tried to change it to Loaded on Landsdowne. I could not do that. So Mark Chikaris with a K, Chekares. And guys, it's been real. Thanks a lot for coming out. Drew, thanks for your insight on Korea.
Absolutely.
And, thanks for drinking beers
Attaboy.
as usual.
That's why I'm here, boss.
I miss drinking beers with you in person. Final things, we got 1 minute left.
Final things is it looks like there's a light at the end of the tunnel here. It seems like things are getting rolling. It seems NBA, hockey, baseball. So I think July we're going to be okay.
I
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, we will see you next time. Audience members, remember Corky Row, and have a great week. We'll see you next
All
week.
right. Peace.
All right.
All right, cool.